Aging is inevitable, but how we age and what accelerates the process have become central questions in modern science. While wrinkles and gray hair are the most visible signs of growing older, the real drama of aging unfolds inside the body, at the cellular and molecular level. One of the most fascinating, and increasingly studied, factors behind age-related decline is a process known as inflammaging, a term that combines inflammation and aging. Inflammaging refers to the chronic, low-grade inflammation that develops with age and silently damages tissues and organs over time. It doesn't cause the dramatic fevers or swelling of an infection, but its persistent presence is now recognized as a key driver of many age-related diseases, and possibly aging itself. So, what exactly is inflammaging? And why is it so central to the aging process? To understand inflammaging, we first need to grasp the basics of inflammation. Inflammation is the body's natural response to injury or infection. It's a vital part of healing. Acute inflammation brings immune cells to the site of damage, kills pathogens, and clears debris. Once the job is done, the inflammation subsides. But sometimes, inflammation lingers. It shifts from a short-term protective mechanism to a long-term, simmering process that begins to harm the very tissues it was meant to protect. This persistent, low-level inflammation doesn't usually produce symptoms until it causes enough damage to trigger disease. Think of it like a slow-burning fire that doesn't consume the house all at once but weakens its structure over time. Inflammaging is that silent fire, fueled by changes in the immune system, environmental exposures, metabolic dysfunction, and accumulated cellular debris that builds up as we grow older. One reason inflammaging occurs is that the immune system ages too, a phenomenon known as immunosenescence. As we get older, our immune system becomes less effective at fighting new infections but more prone to misfiring, producing inflammatory signals even in the absence of threats. Certain immune cells, such as macrophages and T cells, become dysregulated. They either underperform or overreact, creating a chronic inflammatory environment. This leads to a paradox. Our bodies become less capable of responding to real dangers like viruses or cancer, yet more inclined to attack their own tissues through misguided inflammatory responses. Another source of inflammaging lies in the cellular damage that accumulates over time. Mitochondria, the energy powerhouses inside our cells, start to malfunction as we age. When mitochondria become damaged, they release molecules that resemble bacterial invaders, tricking the immune system into reacting as if there's an infection. These molecules, known as damage-associated molecular patterns, DAMPs, are one of the primary triggers of age-related inflammation. In addition, senescent cells, old cells that have stopped dividing but refuse to die, secrete a cocktail of inflammatory substances called the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, SASP. These secretions spread inflammatory signals to neighboring cells and disrupt tissue function. Moreover, the gut microbiome, the community of microbes living in our intestines, undergoes changes with age. In younger individuals, the gut is dominated by beneficial bacteria that support immunity and regulate inflammation. But in older adults, the microbial balance often shifts toward a pro-inflammatory composition. This imbalance, known as dysbiosis, weakens the gut barrier, allowing bacterial components like lipopolysaccharides, LPS, to leak into the bloodstream. This triggers further immune activation and adds fuel to the inflammaging fire. So why does this matter? Because inflammaging is linked to nearly every major chronic disease associated with aging. From Alzheimer's and cardiovascular disease to type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, cancer, and frailty, chronic inflammation is a common denominator. It doesn't just accompany these conditions, it contributes to their development and progression. For instance, in Alzheimer's disease, chronic inflammation exacerbates the buildup of toxic proteins in the brain. In atherosclerosis, inflammatory cells accelerate the formation of plaques in blood vessels. In type 2 diabetes, inflammatory cytokines interfere with insulin signaling. Even aging itself, independent of disease, may be driven in part by this constant, low-grade inflammation. Inflammaging can damage DNA, impair stem cell function, and degrade the scaffolding of tissues. It chips away its cellular resilience and accelerates functional decline. The body, constantly caught in a state of low alert, never fully rests or repairs itself. Over time, this leads to the frailty, slower healing, and increased vulnerability that characterize old age. But here's the hopeful part: while we can't stop time, we can influence how our bodies respond to it. Emerging research shows that lifestyle choices and targeted interventions can reduce chronic inflammation and slow inflammaging. Regular physical activity, for example, is a powerful anti-inflammatory tool. Exercise doesn't just strengthen muscles and bones, it modulates immune responses and helps clear senescent cells. A single workout can reduce levels of inflammatory markers in the blood. Over time, consistent activity keeps inflammation in check and improves metabolic health. Diet also plays a major role. Anti-inflammatory eating patterns, rich in fruits, vegetables, omega-3 fatty acids, whole grains, and spices like turmeric and ginger, can dampen inflammatory pathways. In contrast, diets high in processed foods, sugars and trans fats tend to fuel inflammation. The Mediterranean diet, in particular, has been shown to lower levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of systemic inflammation. Sleep and stress management are equally critical. Chronic stress activates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, HPA, axis, leading to elevated cortisol levels that promote inflammation. Poor sleep exacerbates this effect. Prioritizing restorative sleep, practicing mindfulness, and managing stress through meditation or therapy can help recalibrate the immune system and reduce inflammatory load. On the therapeutic front, scientists are exploring compounds that specifically target the sources of inflammaging. Senolytics, drugs that selectively remove senescent cells, have shown promise in animal models for reducing inflammation and restoring tissue function. Other research focuses on blocking pro-inflammatory cytokines or enhancing the body's anti-inflammatory pathways. While these interventions are still largely experimental, they signal a new frontier in the science of healthy aging. Ultimately, understanding inflammaging gives us a clearer picture of why aging happens the way it does, and how we might change its course. Rather than seeing inflammation as merely a side effect of age, we now recognize it as a central player in the aging process. By addressing this silent, chronic inflammation, we may not only prevent disease but also extend health span, the years of life lived in good health and independence. Aging may be inevitable, but the way we age is not fixed. With growing knowledge of inflammaging and its drivers, we are entering an era where slowing down the body's inflammatory clock could be the key to living longer, stronger, and better. If you find this video engaging, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with others who might appreciate it, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you for watching.